for a fantastic round 10 clash between the Central Queensland Capras and the Luxury Paints Ipswich Jets. Great to have you with us on Phoenix Radio, phoenix.com.au. Smith somehow right down the instant touchline, 12-4 the score with the first attacking opportunity.
Hello and welcome to another edition of After the 80, your local source for everything rugby league. As always, I'm your host, Ben Wilmot, and sitting to my right, the man of many talents. Fashion might not be one of them. Anthony Bomber Breeze, welcome back, Bomber.
No, it's good to be back. Another good week of rugby league there. We had some great IRL action there. The Jets got up for another win, their first win at home. Broncos got up, and of course the mighty Eels got up. So.
Oh yeah, it was good to see Parramatta getting a convincing win over the North Queensland Cowboys over the weekend. That was highlight of your weekend?
Yeah, it certainly was there. Makes the weekend go a lot better when your team wins, so plenty more to come.
Excellent. Well, also joining us on the panel again this week is Jason Connors, the Brothers Ipswich Junior Development Officer. Good to have you back on the show, Jason.
Yeah, good to be here, Benny.
Excellent. Well, you're doubling up this year with the Diggers under 19s coach as well, but we'll get into that later in the show. Well, let's jump straight into round 9 of the Intrust Super Cup, and it kicked off on Saturday with the third consecutive win for the Ipswich Jets over the Burleigh Bears at North Ipswich Reserve. We'll get into that game in just a moment. Also, the PNG Hunters got a big win over the Northern Pride, winning 26-10 at home. East Tigers got up over the Central Queensland Capras 36-24. Wynnum Manly went down at the hands of the Townsville Blackhawks 16-22. North Devils proved too good for the Mackay Cutters, getting the win 34-10, and a big win for the Redcliffe Dolphins over the South Logan Magpies, taking a 52-12 win, which will be our second game in focus today. We're discussing all the action from that game in just a moment, and the last game of round 9 was the Battle of the Coast, which saw the Sunshine Coast Falcons have the biggest win of the round, defeating the Tweed Head Seagulls at home 58-0. Bomber, before we discuss the games in focus this week, what game stands out for you, that clash of the Falcons?
Yeah, well, obviously they're in a bit of form. They've got the Melbourne Allegiances with them there, and they've been going up and down the sunny coast there. They had a loss the week before, but obviously they hit back in a big way. Same with North. North had a loss last week, and they had the TV game this week, and give it to the Capras there. So there's a few teams starting to hit form. So yeah,
I'm sure there'll be a few that'll be looking forward to the representative break over the weekend as well. Well, now to our first game in focus from the weekend, which saw the Ipswich Jets get their first win at home over the Burleigh Bears. That win jumped them to 8th place on the Queensland Rugby League ladder. We were out there on Saturday broadcasting the game live via the Phoenix Media Hub, and we'd like to thank all the hard-working students here at USQ for their fantastic efforts in bringing you all the action live from Ipswich. Now, Jason, 3 wins for the Ipswich Jets and their first win in front of a home crowd. Does it look like they finally found that winning form?
I think so, and I think a good move is bringing Kate Well into 9. I think the Walker boys is fine his place there at 9 and bringing Ash into the halves. He gives them a little bit of spark out of dummy half, and he's got a lot of experience. So I think you might find him staying in that position, and Jets can continue this role.
Well, I talked to him after the game, after this win here, and he was enjoying his time at the 9. It does give him a lot of chance to get hand of the ball, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right. And as you get a little bit older, you get a little bit wiser, and you don't have to be as quick, but he's normally a good backup support player, so he can find those big guys through the middle, and the Jets like to run the ball around too, so he'll find himself in backup options through the ruck and that.
As we see Keanu Takiri scoring a try for the Burleigh Bears, there weren't too many tries in this game, Bomber. What won it for the Jets in the end was their penalty kicks from Wes Conlon, who was perfect with the boot, but it's a little bit strange to see a team that rolls the dice so often was taking quite a conservative approach in terms of taking the 2 points.
Yeah, well, I watched the game on the live stream. It was a good performance by you and Nunny there, commentating on the game there. Like I said, the Jets are an attacking team, but obviously they just couldn't get over the line. A lot of drop ball and all that there. So obviously the penalty kicks is what won it for them, and they're lucky that Wes brought his kick and boot along and kicked them to victory, so it was good.
And also providing the final pass for that runaway try to Michael Purcell, which sealed the deal for Ipswich. And I guess you always want to have a bit of a fortress at home. Was it good for them to get that win at North Ipswich Reserve?
Well, you normally bank on winning a majority of your games at home there, and the Jets hadn't done that. Not that they've been playing bad, but they just hadn't got the 2 points. So now they have got their first win at home there. Hopefully the crowd keeps coming back and they're up for another victory, so should be good.
It was a bit of a scrappy one on the weekend, Jason, but I guess taking 3 wins into the representative break's going to give them a lot of confidence coming back into the second stanza.
Yeah, momentum's a big thing, I think, in rugby league, and confidence. When the boys start playing with confidence, and you have a look at the results, they've only been losing by 6 to 10 points, and they've been in those games, so now this confidence should see results, and I think they can start building from here.
Would you think it's unfortunate that the breaks come now, as you said, with momentum?
Yeah, it does suck a little bit having a break, but I think they got a few boys out as well. I'm not quite sure who, Bomber, or you can maybe tell me a little bit more of that, but I think they got a few boys backing up from reserve grade, doing a great job as well. So they might get them back over the next couple of weeks, and then hopefully momentum can keep climbing.
That's it. Well, now to the second game in focus from the weekend, and the Redcliffe Dolphins had a convincing win over the South Logan Magpies at Dolphin Oval on Sunday, getting the 2 points with a 52-12 win, with Troy Geis getting a double in the first half. It seems there's no sign of any faults in the strong Redcliffe side, despite the fact that they're missing Benji Marshall now.
Yeah, no, I was getting updates on this game there, and the first update I got was 12-all, and I thought, this is going to be a good game, getting the updates there. And then about half an hour later, or about 40 minutes later, I got the update, and it's about 46-12 then. But obviously, this fella, the number 6 there, Tyson Gamble, in great form. He's just been signed by the West Tigers. So I'd say that's him down to Sydney straight away. So it'll be a loss for them, but they've just got class all over the field. Thompson Tede there, and Tom Opacek and Jonas Pearson, the Broncos affiliates there. So if you can keep a couple of your Broncos players there, obviously during Origin time, they'll probably be missing. So it'll be a big test on their depth. So, but at the moment, they're high flying.
Jason, these both teams are big feeder clubs for the Brisbane Broncos. South Logan have a numerous number of players who are affiliated with the Brisbane Broncos and train with the squad during the week. I guess, would you have expected a better defensive display from them?
Yeah, defensive display wasn't there. I got a few mates that play for South, and they said they're missing Sam Scarlett. I think he's the half. I don't know if he played in this game, but he's a big feature for that South Logan side. He gets some plays at the line, plays direct, and him and Minto have been combining well. So I think he's out for the next couple of weeks. So they did miss him on the weekend.
I guess they were the BRL champions last year as well, the Redcliffe Dolphins, but do you see them being a pretty dominant force this season in the Intrust?
Yeah, 100%. They got good depth at their club, and they always have, and I think Adam Mogg, the coach, is doing a really good job. So I think the Fogs is up there as well again this year as well. So if there's an injury, they just pluck one from reserve grade and they do the job.
Bomber, I guess that speaks to the depth of the club there. It's going to be a tough ask for the Jets to try and overcome a team like that when it comes to finals time. Yeah,
well, like I said, finals times are a long way away at the moment there. Obviously, form comes into it there. Like, they're the in-form team at the moment there, but when obviously the Broncos take a couple of players back there, if they get a few injuries there and they lose Opacek and Jonas Pearson full time to the Broncos there, and now Tyson Gamble's gone, it does bring them back to the field there, but obviously they're a club with super depth. So
would you be predicting them to be there in the grand final time?
Oh, well, if the grand final was next weekend, I'd be on them. I'm sure Jason would be on them too.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm on the Jets at the moment. So
good to hear. Well, now onto the ladder as it stands, and the PNG Hunters are on top with 14 points, followed by the East Tigers on 13. The Redcliffe Dolphins and Townsville Blackhawks sit on 12 points each, with Sunshine Coast Falcons on 11 points and South Logan Magpies on 10 points, which makes up the top 6. The Ipswich Jets, as we said before, coming 8th, tied on 8 points with the North Devils. Any surprises in the top 6 for you guys at the moment?
Oh, not for mine there. Probably the East Tigers there. They're probably the only. I don't know whether it's a shock there. Like they're probably the only ones there. PNG were always going to be up there. Redcliffe were always going to be up there. The Blackhawks are a strong team there. South have got their Broncos ones, as we've said several times. So, but the Jets just hovering behind there. A couple more wins there, and hopefully they're up into the 6. So.
I guess, Jason, the Jets are only sitting just out of the top 6 at the moment. How much, more confidence do you gain from being in that top 6 and knowing that you need to be holding rather than trying to climb?
Yeah, they know where I think they've got penciled in a few of their dates coming up where the games they should win, the games that are going to be a test for them, and they can see themselves how they're travelling. So I think for the last 3 games, their confidence is building. I think they're on the way up, and I think the Wooker boys trying to pencil in their next couple of dates of how they're going to take these games with results-wise. But I think they'll sneak in. The team I'm impressed with is the Hunters. I think they've been in the comp now for 3 years. I think this is their year. They finish 1-2, they'll get a home final, and I think they're a big chance this year, especially with the results from last year.
They do seem to have a bit of trouble come finals time. They were knocked out the first round of the finals last year after another great season. Do you see them overcoming that hoodoo?
Yeah, exactly right. This is their 3rd year. Experience from last year getting knocked out, especially at home. I don't think they'll make the same mistake again. So if they can finish top 2, get that home final, I think they can go all the way to the grand final. With
a huge contingent making the PNG Kumul side that'll be playing this weekend as well, they'll take a lot of experience from those big games, won't they?
100%. When you make a rep side and you take it back to clubland, you find that extra gear, and I think PNG, that side this year, that's just my personal opinion anyway.
Excellent. Well, moving on to the Rugby League Ipswich Competition, and round 7 kicked off with a big win at home for the Swifts Bluebirds over the West End Bulldogs, winning 38-4. The West End Bulldogs are still yet to get a win for the season. Unfortunately, this week wasn't their time to get back on the winners list. The Goodna Eagles and Brothers Ipswich faced off yet again in a grand final rematch on the weekend, and Goodna proved too strong, getting the win 36-10. And in the 3rd game of the round, Fassifern getting up over the North's Tigers 28-14. Bomber, another loss for the West End Bulldogs. Unfortunate that their run continues. Do you think they'll be stronger for the break this week?
Well, I was at this game there, and I seen the West End team. They looked like they'd prepared well there. It was probably one of their better sides for the year there. They seem to do everything right, but just when they get out onto the field there, they just drop a lot of ball in the first half and all that there. And the first half's been killing them all year. So until they can obviously get the first halves back in check there, they're a little bit better in the second half, but it was gone by then, the game.
What'd you make of Swifts?
Well, they've been so-so the last couple of weeks there, but they really picked it up. I was really impressed with them there. Their forwards went really well, and then the backs, they got it out to the backs there, and they looked pretty slick actually. So I was very impressed with them. So
yep. It was a bit of a moment's silence as well ahead of the Goodna Brothers game on the weekend with the passing of one of the players that's been affiliated with both. Emotional encounter between the two sides. Grand final rematch. It's always going to carry a bit more importance, but just like they did last year in the grand final, the Goodna Eagles proved too strong.
Yeah, they did. I was actually at that game in respects to both clubs for making that minute's silence, and I think they might have donated some money to the families. Bomb, is that right?
yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, and it was a physical game, and I think if you dissect the game, I think Goodna, they're just a power force of the side. One tackle feels like 5, and they get that roll on, and their bench was strong as well. So I don't know when the bench players came on and they took them to a new level, and when we had our bench players from Brothers, we just didn't have that energy like they had. But it's only early. You get to start dissecting both sides and how they play, and then second visit, Brothers may change a bit of game plans and come out firing.
Well, it was a big battle between Norse and Fassifern as well on the Sunday afternoon game, and it was very close up until the final minutes. Last 5 minutes, Fassifern got another try and kind of sealed the deal. But as you'd expect between those two teams, it's always a big contest.
Yeah, well, obviously Norse welcomed back Josh Roberts from his baseball duties there. He's been missing all season there, and he's a big part of their attack there. He was the reason they won the grand finals when they won them, just from the 5'8". He has the punch there. He's a strong man, and he organises as well. So they're going to be up there when the whips are cracking as well. So, but obviously Fassifern, I like Fassifern there. Obviously they do what they have to do. They've got some very strong forwards there and some very quick centres. So.
Yeah, it was, both teams are going to be up there come finals time, I'm sure. Well, coming up next in the program, we'll be discussing all the action from the Brisbane Broncos and Penrith Panthers game and the big win that the Parramatta Eels had over the injury-stricken North Queensland Cowboys. Also the team list for the representative rounds in the Rugby League action this weekend. All that and more here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, your local source for everything rugby league. Now, before we get into the teams for the Kangaroos and New Zealand Test and the City vs Country game, let's jump into the game that kicked off round 9 in the NRL this week with the Brisbane Broncos taking on the Penrith Panthers at home, with the Broncos getting up 32-18. Once again, the bunker was in the firing lines with a no try awarded to the Penrith Panthers in the 55th minute, where Josh Maguire knocks the ball out of the hands of Peter Wallace, which could have changed the momentum of the game early on. The bunker released a statement which reads as follows: "We can see the left arm of Josh Maguire comes in contact with the ball. However, Josh is making a tackle and there is no intent to play at the ball at this point. We can see that Peter Wallace is extending the ball towards the Broncos goal line. As he extends the ball forward, there's a loose carry of the ball which comes into contact with the defender." Jason, what did you make of the call on the weekend?
Personally, I thought it was a wrong call. Just going as a player, I thought he wasn't attacking the football, but it did go back. But normally, I think the Bunkers have got it right this year. I thought that's probably one of the only ones that was a little bit iffy. But other than that, I think they're doing a good job.
And how much do you think that would have had an effect on the Panthers? Because from the first half onwards, from there, it was all the Broncos' way. Yeah,
momentum's huge in league, so I think scoring that 6 points gives confidence and gives more points. So I think that's a big play.
Bomber, Panthers came to the rescue of the City team this week for Brad Fittler. What did you make of their performance against the Broncos?
Oh, well, like we were just talking about, if they were up 6-0, it may have been a whole completely different game. After that, they just seemed to fall off, and the Brisbane machine obviously got going there, and obviously Jimmy the Jet there, he's starting to find a bit of form. Obviously he got injured in this game and is out for about a month now, I think. So they'll miss him out wide there. But Brisbane just did everything right. They laxed off near the end there, and obviously the Panthers come charging back at them. But they got the two.
Panthers haven't had too many wins on the scoreboard this season, but they've got the talent in the roster. Was it a good performance for the Broncos, considering they're missing Ben Hunt as well in the halves?
Well, for the Panthers, like I tipped them to win the premiership this year. They're 2 from 9, but look at their side. They got Wallace and they got Matt Moylan and this young Cleary, Regan Gillard there, Wacker Blake out wide. They've got a great side, and I don't know what's happening to them. So.
Well, they came back in the second half. Jason, do you see them coming back in the second half of the season?
I put it down to when they played South. They had all those guys that were out for whatever known reason. There was 3 of the players. Well, I think that's a game they should have won. Win that, I reckon they get confidence. They build from that. But they had Moylan, Blake and a few out. So that was a big call to leave them out of that game, which now is affecting them because now they're on a downward spiral. So I think that South game, they win that, they could have built momentum.
Is that a matter of having a lot of young players in the team as well, meaning they've got less of the experience to try and bounce back from those moments?
Yeah, youth's good. And you need that experience as well. But like we said, it's a confidence thing. Confidence is so big in rugby league, and you can find with the Jets now, they're building after a couple of wins. You find that you hit 3 or 4 together. It's just the same as brothers last year in our A-grade comp. We got 1 and then we started building. So I think confidence is huge. You have a couple of losses you've seen, you'll keep following that trend. So it only takes 1, and maybe it's this week.
Well, moving to the North Queensland now, and the Parramatta Eels proved too strong for the North Queensland Cowboys with a 26-6 victory. With Jonathan Thurston still out injured, Michael Morgan just didn't have that driving force to play off, and it showed in the game. With over 14 basic errors from the Cowboys, the Eels surely took advantage of the extra possession. Is this a look at life without JT for the Cowboys, Bomber?
Well, obviously without JT, Morgan was the man that was supposed to be stepping up for him, but obviously he just hasn't done that. So obviously he needs a halfback there. So obviously when JT does go, they need a halfback who can organise it. But let's not talk about the Cowboys. Let's talk about the Eels there.
How good were they?
Michael Jennings, he was in great form. King Gutho there, thinking that they called him at Parramatta there. He had another fine game. Nathan Brown, he's been probably the buy of the season for the Eels there. A bit of a firebrand at South Sydney there, but he always had the talent. And this year he's done really well. And obviously Norman, he's our marquee player there. He just keeps stepping up as well. So
You're impressed with how many minutes Brown's been playing for the Eels as well?
yeah, well I think he played the whole 80 there. He was a front row last year. I think he's moved in a lock, much a similar way as what Josh Maguire has done at the Broncos. So, but no, he's even ball playing. So you don't see too many front rowers trying to ball play there. And but he got the last pass off to Will Smith there. So that was good.
We know how biased is when we talk about the Parramatta Eels around Bomber, but Jason, would you back up that statement? The Eels were on fire.
They were good against the Cowboys side that's out of form. So I don't know how good you take that performance and how that's gonna put them through the season with results coming up. But I don't know. It was a good performance that night, but can they continue it? Bomber will only know.
Well, the other talking point out of this game was the slap out of Kenny Edwards here, who took his frustrations out in the dressing room. Bomber, was that the right call?
Well, it was the right call. They were given a thing 2 weeks ago that you can't do it. I know people are going to say it's soft and it's not netball we're playing there, but they set the rules, and the rules are set out to all the players, but the players not going to abide by them. Obviously, you suffer the consequence, and I'm sure Brad Arthur, because at that stage there, they just scored a try, and then we were down. And they would have scored another try. Like I said, momentum would have kicked in again. So I think Kenny put up on Instagram that he was sorry and won't do it again. So.
Well, it certainly sent a message. Well, moving on to the ANZAC Test between Australia and New Zealand on Friday night as part of the Four Nations series, and the teams were announced last week. And this game will be Cameron Smith's 50th Test match for Australia. The record's currently held by Darren Lockyer with 59 caps. The 20-man squad would have contained 5 NRL captains with the likes of Jonathan Thurston, Darius Boyd, Cameron Smith and Boyd Cordner. But unfortunately, Aaron Woods over the weekend sustained a hamstring injury in the Sharks game, which means Andrew Fifita will have a chance at redemption in representative football for Australia. Jason, are you happy to see Fifita get his chance again? Yeah,
I like Fifita. A lot of people don't, but I think he's the in-form forward. He's unpredictable too. He goes a little bit sideways, can get an offload, big body. So Aussies to win, take him with the line.
Bomber, I guess he is a big inclusion, both metaphorically and physically. He's a bit of a firebrand, but I guess after the controversy last year, is it good to see him get his chance to put his name back in there? Yeah,
well, obviously everyone deserves a second chance there for what he did there. He was man of the match in the grand final, and they didn't give it to him, as most people said. And then he didn't go on the kangaroo tour, so you can't keep caning someone for the same problem. We've just got to get over it now there. And last 2 weeks he's been in great form, so why not?
I think the other notable exclusion this week was Josh Papali after a bit of a bizarre series with a drink driving incident. Canberra stood him down for 2 weeks, including this representative round. Was that the right call for the club?
Yeah, well, precedents have been set now that if you're going to play up there, you're going to face a minimum 2 weeks on the sidelines and obviously a fine. But the players have just got to learn. A lot of people say that footballers are dumb. He dobbed himself in, so I'm not sure where he was coming from with he wanted to prove a point. I'm not sure what type of point he proved. So.
Well, it might have been a literal call for help, I think. Well, on to the New Zealand team now, and it's a strong team that Australia will be coming up against, featuring the likes of Jason Tamalolo, Martin Tapau, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Adam Blair, Jesse and Kenny Bromwich, Isaac Luke and Sean Johnson, just to name a few. Jason, do you think New Zealand have what it takes to beat Australia on Friday? I know you've just put your tip behind Australia, but will they give them a good run?
No, I don't think so. I think too much class for Australia. I thought Cody Nikoroma might have found his way on the bench to replace Isaac Luke. I don't know who is, if he's playing 80 minutes or not, but I think Australia just too classy, and I think their performance last year will just build from that, and they got a really strong side, so Australia, they give the line.
Bomber, would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, I think this is probably New Zealand's best team for a couple of years now. every time we've played them, they've always had a couple of superstars out. Now Kieran Foran's back, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's back there, Adam Blair's back in there. Like I said, Jordan Rapana's in there. He's been probably the form winger of the competition. Isaac Luke, Sean Johnson. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout there. But these test matches there, the Kiwis seem to hold for the first half, first 50, 60 minutes, and then they fall off the last 20 normally. So, but I'm tipping an Australian victory.
There we go. We got 2 from 2. Well, moving on to the city versus country game, and it's going to be a big game on Sunday with the likes of Matt Moylan, Clint Clutherson, Nathan Ross, Tyron Peachy, Josh Adokar, Bryce Cartwright, Chad Townsend, James Tarmo, Paul Gallen and Nathan Cleary, just to name a few, playing for the city team. On the other side, we've got the country team. You'll have Michael Gordon, Anthony Don, Chase Blair, Brian Kelly, Cody Walker, Tyrone Roberts, just to name a few. Past year, the focus has definitely dropped off this representative clash, and next year it will be axed. Is this going to be a special one, being the last one after a long tradition?
I don't think so. I don't know they'll get many viewers. I think Bournemouth, you might get a game. They're short of players. Teams are holding back players, so I don't know if there's any benefit for it. If it was a selection trial for New South Wales, we'll make it one, but I just think it'll be not a crowd. Where they're playing at, actually?
It's at Mudgee.
Yes. They might get a crowd there, but the viewers on Channel 9, I don't think there'll be many people tuning in.
Where do you think the decline in interest has come from, really? Has it been the fact that players and coaches have kind of ruled themselves out of the contest over the years?
Yeah, exactly right. I think players that are playing they're only playing for a city country jersey. They know they're not a New South Wales chance. The side's probably pre-selected, so they don't want to get these players injured. And it's just another event for that weekend, pretty much.
Bomber, I guess it is a chance for an NRL coach to lose a player through injury for a game that doesn't count for too much at the moment. Has that really been the reason it's kind of died off?
Oh, well, I was probably a little bit disappointed with some of the clubs there that haven't released their players to, like, congratulations to the Penrith Panthers. Like, they've got nearly their whole team. And then if you look at other clubs, like even like Parramatta there, we mightn't have many in the Australian team, but if you look at the Samoan, the Tongan, the Fijian sides, all them players are playing A grade, so they're all playing this weekend. But it's a chance to take the game back to the country, and that's grassroots football, and that's where all these players that are playing, that's where they all started. So if they're not going to be able to start anywhere, but the city side, it was a bit of a schmozzle there. To answer Jason's question, I probably wouldn't get a run because I'm a country boy and they picked their team first. So and they had players that want to play for the country. The country really embraced the concept. It's more of the city players there.
What position, Bob? What position, mate?
Centre. I'm probably front row at the moment. But they've picked Jake McKenna and Paulie. They haven't even played A grade this year. Hemi Sally, who's he? He's from the Dragons and he's played 7A game. Curtis Siren's not in real good form, and Bryce Cartwright's not in real good form. So if you're going to have a bet, I'd be getting on country for this one for sure.
Well, that's all we've got for the representative round at the moment. Coming up next, we'll be discussing all the action happening this weekend in the Ipswich Chairman's Challenge. That and more here on After the 80. Welcome back to After the 80, your local source for everything rugby league. As it is representative round, there are no QRL or RLI games on this weekend, so the local league will be turning to the annual Chairman's Challenge, which kicks off on Friday. Brisbane will take on Ipswich, with Saturday Ipswich coming up against the Gold Coast. On Sunday, Brisbane tackle the Gold Coast. It's a great round robin tournament while rep round is on, and it's a good chance to see a lot of local talent with a mix of BRL and local league players. Bomber, you'll be there all weekend. What do you make of the 3-round contest?
Yeah, no, it was good last year. We won it for the first time there. We had probably our best team for several years there, and we actually won it quite easy. So I'm not sure that we're going to win it quite easy this year there, but obviously we start off on the Friday there against Brisbane there. So hopefully a win there will boost us up, and it's probably the Gold Coast game on the Saturday where it'll be make or break whether we win it or not. So.
Jason, last year in the senior side, that we did win it a little bit easily there. The Jets were provided some players from the BRL. That's happening again this year. But the difference is last year the Jets were actually on top in the BRL competition, and this year they find themselves in a bit of a struggle. Do you think that's going to translate into the chairman's, or do you think their quality is going to show through?
Not really. I think we are selecting, this competition is selecting for the SEQ, so you pick your best players possible, and a lot of them are from the BRL rather than the Ipswich comp. That's not saying the Ipswich comp is lack, but BRL are at that standard each week. So we kind of select the players that are going to go on and play rep football. I think they'll be just as strong. There's a few players that played in that side last year are backing up, so with the mix of Ipswich Rugby League players, so I think they'll be strong again.
As well as the senior competition, we've also got the under-19s, which you are the coach of, so you're the perfect man to ask. What's Ipswich's team looking like in the lead-up?
We've had a few pull out, and there's not too many teams to choose from, so I think we're going to be focused on playing for your mate, playing for your area, rather than Ipswich. Gold Coast and Brisbane, they've got a few clubs to choose from. So we're prepared all right. The final numbers will get cut this week and we'll be ready to travel for Friday. So looking for a big performance from the boys on Friday.
And a good chance for some of these young players to get a representative field as well.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's a bit of a reward for effort. So a lot of boys get to travel with some mates, get to enjoy time at camp and getting used to a rep environment. And I think that's what it's about, is a little bit of have some fun as well. So the boys are keen and I'm keen, and looking forward to Friday.
Excellent. Well, last year Ipswich hosted this series and it was a great turnout from the local fans. Where are we off to this week?
We're off to South Sports Club there, down at Acacia Ridge there. So we did play there a couple of years ago, but the last three have been in Ipswich there. So it's our turn now to jump on the bus Friday and head down there for the weekend. So.
Who do you see being the biggest opponent for Ipswich this weekend?
Like I said earlier, I think Gold Coast. Gold Coast always very strong. They got a very strong competition down there. And in saying that, I'm not saying Brisbane are going to be easy pushovers either, but our side there, like from our side last year, I think about three of the players have gone up into the Intrust at the Jets, so it is a bit of a stepping stone there. Like in the players like Chris Ash, he was in our side last year. Now he's a starting player at Intrust. So they move up into that, get selected in the SEQ team, and then move on to the Rangers there, and then obviously.
It's a good chance to get noticed, isn't it? Well, I guess speaking of a couple of representative honours coming out of the Jets this year, we've got a couple playing this weekend with Nate Neal making the Queensland resident side. Yeah,
well, obviously Nat's been the form player of the Jets this year. Michael Nunn sent me the stats the other day. He's had more hit-ups than anybody else there. He's got more offloads and all that there. So he's probably been the standout forward for the Jets, and obviously it's a richly deserved honour.
And the other one we need to mention is Richard Pandia making the PNG Kummel side as well. Good reward for a young guy.
Yeah, 100%. That's a really good achievement. Things happen from rep sides, especially making the international side. You find he might get a lot of interest if he has a good season with Intrust Super Cup from that weekend. So, you know, if you put in things, you get rewarded, and maybe NRL rewards just around the corner.
Well, congratulations to all the Ipswich players who've been selected in representative sides to take on this weekend. That's all the time we have this week here on After the 80. Thanks for Bomber coming back on the show again, my trusty co-host. It's another big weekend this week.
It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to be here.
Excellent. And Jason, thanks for coming back on the show again, mate.
Thanks, mate.
All the best this weekend in the Chairman's Challenge for the juniors. Well, that is all we have time for this week. We'll check out all the action over the weekend. We'll be back with you next week.